It is amazing to see you ladies on the virtual couch again. And I
Yeah.
am excited about this conversation. Yes, we're going to talk about it.
Well, let's go.
Okay. Martha McIntosh, it is always a mighty great experience to have you on our couch. Thank you for
Yes.
coming back. I call her the positivity queen. She's positively Caribbean. She's positively ethnic. She's positively bilingual. She's positively everything. Okay. She's
Yep.
body positive. We had her on our platform talking about body
Mhm.
positivity, one of our great episodes. So it's always so great to have you back. Thank you for coming
Thank
and
you.
joining us. And hey, the other Dr. T on the couch, welcome back to you. How are you doing? Nice to see you.
Good,
so,
good. It's good to see you guys.
so the reason why I had to have the obvious people on this couch this evening, because we're gonna talk about hair. We're gonna talk about these hair stories. Okay, so there is an article, and really this discussion started in 2021, where it was in Allure magazine. I'll give y'all the credit. That there was an article about the trend back to the relaxer. Black women are heading from natural back to the relaxer. I thought we were in a movement. What is going on? I am confused. So I want to ask you guys first, you ladies first. You have been rocking your natural dews and rocking them beautifully. So I want to understand from you guys, was this truly a movement or was this just a natural trend? As with all trends, they come to an end. So what was your hair evolution like? Tell us, Martha.
No, I do think it was a movement. Like, even though but it's ever changing, right? Everybody's needs also change. I think that in 2021, we were knee deep in the middle of we're gonna do what we can do with the little resources that we have. And so therefore people were just making choices that, whatever was available to them and stuff. And that's how I've always, even the thought that would encourage people to go back to relaxers is because it's convenient, more convenient, less expensive, because the whole myth that natural hair is not as expensive as relaxed hair is a myth, in my opinion.
I agree.
My closet agrees with that statement.
But I'd add to that, Martha. One of the things that I realize is that in our capitalist world, there's always going to be a desire to capitalize on anything that is going to make money.
Yep.
So there was a point in time you didn't have very many options for natural hair products, and you didn't have very many people who would even do it. So it was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we, that the mama can kind of handle that. But now that people were looking for it more, it became something that they would now, oh, it's a service I can sell, I can mark it up. So instead of getting your hair twisted for like $35, you're going to have to pay now 60, 80, 90, whatever the amount of money to get your hair twisted. The same twist that you would have gotten years ago, but it's the same thing. So I have a feeling, in my opinion, just looking at the market, it's more of a, because it became a desirable thing, the price of its availability now became more. It's like you're gonna have to spend more for doing it. But back in the day,
price is not today's price.
Right. Right.
And that's you're right.
That is so true. Let me tell you, those braiders prices that we used to get for, like, you can go to Harlem and get your hair braided for $25. Listen, now folks are like, I literally watched those prices go up from into 100s and now 200s and now even higher, depending on how expensive the hairstyle is. But you're right. You are so right about that. It became, capitalism.
And now,
destroy everything.
you now have those salons that are going to be doing the, only natural hair. You have a lot of salons out that are doing only natural hair and not doing any of the perms and not doing any of the chemicals. Now, sometimes I hate talking about it and saying like it's a trend because it makes it seem like it's just kind of wayward. But there are a lot of people for which it was a trend. They saw this ability to mimic, and I'm going to say why I say mimic in a second, mimic the look of the natural hair. And so, oh, everyone's doing it, so let me join that right now. But I do believe that there are a sincere segment of people who chose to stay away from the creamy crack because of all the links that have been spoken about. And I'm gonna let you talk about the medical facts of it, but in terms of all the things that it can be connected to with our health and our overall bodies and being.
You can bring them up.
Very true.
Yeah, and I thought, it seemed like there was such an anti-institution movement. Like, this is freedom for me. I know that a couple of reasons why people went natural was they just thought that, for a long time, we have never really been told that our natural hair is beauty or beautiful. And so, there was this movement about wearing your crown, appreciating your crown, a movement away from the institutionalization of the US, which
rebels
then led to the Crown Act, and all the biases that happens even in the workplace, that we've now had to legalize the ability for us to wear our natural hair in our natural hairstyles, which is just like we're in 2020s and we're still having to legalize. Can
you imagine?
The ability to wear our natural hair. Like, it just blows my mind when I think about that. Like, I have to be legally allowed to do something that is humanly natural, like something that is like everybody else. No one else has to legalize the wearing of their natural hair. But as Black women and as Black men, we have to, which is just it's insane to me. So I thought that the trend was really just appreciating at least for me, the way I interpreted the trend was really just appreciating our beauty and sort of changing the narrative that has told us for hundreds of years that we're not beautiful, that our hair is not beautiful. And also the other movement was the fact that countering that myth that we don't grow long hair.
Yes. Yes. Or our hair cannot, the whole stigmatism of a kinky hair, of a coily hair and stuff. But even I even think that because of what we would call a trend, there was also a self-awareness. Because, I was 16 when I locked my hair. And it wasn't until I was locked for a long time that I realized how painful my entire perm experience was. I didn't realize how painful it was until I stopped. And I was like, wow, can you imagine? Like, my scalp is not hurting anymore. Like, I went from a period of I can have a relax in my hair for a whole 2 hours, processing, to as soon as it touched my scalp, we need to work quickly with this because we can't have it for more than 10 minutes in my scalp. The progression from the time that I started to okay, I can't do this anymore because I'm actually physically hurting myself. Or a process. And then, when that healing of, okay, now I stop processing my hair with relaxers, now I have my natural hair, and going through that entire process, I was like, who knew? So this means that I was physically torturing my scalp? Wow, imagine that.
It's so incredible to think about that we sit in chairs and allow our scalp to be burnt.
Yes.
Whether by heat or by chemical. I mean, it's mind-blowing to accomplish some level of beautification or convenience. Because let me tell you, once you burn that hair and you burn that scalp and the hair is nice and slick and straight, it is real easy. It is real easy to style. You put some curls in it and you good until you need to get your touch up, right? So it's to your point, Martha, it is so true when you really think about the mindset of what we have been forced to try to accept as our existence, that you have to burn your hair to be accepted, burn your hair to be beautiful, burn your scalp to be beautiful, like the smell of hair burning from the hot comb. I mean, it's just really, or the Jericho juice.
Yeah. All of it.
And that's just it. Like, so, we a lot of us did the perm, went to the natural. I'm not gonna lie, I went back from my long, beautiful locks to perm again like a dummy, because I was just being rebellious. I was like, everybody's trying to do the whole, everybody.
Why'd you do that though? Why? What led to that decision?
I'm a cotton picking rebel. Let's just say that. So if you tell me this is what it's supposed to be, I'm gonna be like, no. Just do whatever I want. But I will be honest, it's because I missed having some variability and to be able to do different things with my hair. Like I always liked playing hair. Some people in this room know that for fact. And so I honestly just went back to be able to play and do something different with my hair. I think I was feeling a little cocky because I would see some girls with like, I had a little short perm. That's what I went back to. I would see some girls wearing short perms and they just looked kind of basic. And I was like, chick, let me show you how it's done, right?
Yeah.
So I was being real cocky about it. My hair was like, I don't think so. So once again, reverted back to going natural. And like, this is my second set of locks. Part of it is because I can manage it better than anybody else can, or whatever the case may be. But I realize, and for some people, I know some people took the opportunity with the pandemic to go natural when they didn't have to be in front of anybody. They didn't want to have to go through the transition portion of it. So they took that time to actually do the growing it out and everything else. So it's a little bit surprising to hear that a lot of people went back, but I can also see, like you said, it's a matter of convenience. The one thing that I found very interesting over time, though, there were a lot of people who were trying to do the natural thing, but it wasn't really doing the natural thing. They would do texturizers to get that curly look as opposed to the fully straight. So there's always those people that ride the fence, they ride the line, and they're the ones for whom it's a trend. So as soon as it's no longer, big name, whatever, they'll hop right back over to fully straight. Or the wigs.
I mean, I think there are a couple of things that may be playing into the transition back. I agree with you, ladies. I think definitely the pandemic was an opportunity for people to explore things that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to explore. You hop on that Zoom meeting, you put your wig on, you hop off, and you have your cornrows in. And you look like, I'm not even going to say it. I'm
not ready. We just don't be ready.
Right. So I think, and maybe part of the trend is the fact that people now have to go back to their lives and have to go back to the corporate room and have to go back to the, corporations and are bringing people back into the offices again. They can no longer be at home on Zoom as much as they used to be. And so maybe I think for some people, natural hair was a fantasy. I think for some people didn't really realize, you see these wash and goes. And I have a video saved, a reel saved.
You see my face?
It ain't wash and go. There is no such thing as wash and go. There isn't. And it's, it's wash, condition, make sure you got the right product, and then moisturize. And it's a process. And so I think, I think to a certain extent, it was great marketing from these hair companies that made it seem like you really could wash and go and you really could, treat your natural hair and have this beautiful look. But for a lot of people, it is years of a lot of the influencers that you see, that's years worth of exploration and work. And so it just could not happen in a year of a pandemic. Like you could barely, how many products do we have underneath our sink? Okay, I got a whole store.
A whole store. A whole store. Look, abundance.
No comments. No comments.
I tell you that my mom locked her hair, I think after Cornell. So after we graduated, she had for a long time, permed her hair. As a matter of fact, my mother, when I had decided to lock my hair, was like crying, like there were real tears. She was like, I can't believe that you're gonna do this. You shouldn't do this. This is not good. Like, what are people going to say? Like, she just had this whole emotional turmoil when I was like, I'm 16, I'm going to college soon. No one knows me. I'll be fine. By the time I get out, it'll be longer. It'll be different. And then, my dad had locks. I had pretty much everybody in my house had locks except my mother. And my mother was like, yeah, no. My mother was like, that's not going to happen. Or my uncles, my aunts. Then I moved to Maryland. And next thing you know, I came home and I'm like, when did you lock your hair? She was like, oh, this is easy. Like, who knew? Locks. Long time. My mother had locks for about 20 years.
Wow.
Pandemic. She's like, because my mother also was suffering from traction alopecia. So she was just having like vast areas of her, as we get older, things change. All of a sudden, her, pulling of the hair, there's a lot of thinning, and our hair is very thin. Like we have very fine hair. She was, and I said, Mom, I think it'll be a good time. Why don't you just come natural like your daughter? She was just so like, no, we're not doing that. Finally, this year, she was like, okay, I'll let you cut it. You know what she said to me? I didn't expect my hair to be this kinky. I was like, Mom, what? Can you imagine that? I'm like, 60-year-old woman has a 44-year-old daughter, granddaughter. We all have the same texture hair. I was like this. What exactly did you think your hair was?
What she saw in the commercials.
She was like, I thought I was gonna be able to rinse, wash, and go. I was like,
that's what they tell us. That's what they tell us.
She said, I never thought that I had hair like my granddaughter. She was like, I gotta do all that. She's not ready. But
oh, that's hilarious. I love her. That is but she's right. I mean, she's expressing exactly the experience of so many Black women. The fact that we're kind of like, wait a minute. And I think that's what happened to a lot of people during the pandemic. They were like, wait a minute, I gotta do all this work. Like,
all of it.
I really gotta do all this
more
work.
than just that. Many of these women do not know how to do anything to their
right.
I don't know about you guys, but I have met so many women my age who do not know how to put a plait in the hair or braid, if you want to call it that. They don't know how to do, as we call it in the Caribbean, cane roll or cornrows is the American. They don't know how to.
I had a whole Zoom class to teach several of our friends.
They're going to friends or family, or they're paying someone to do their hair. I think that's one of the things that we need to look at. We need to start educating folk how to actually do something with our hair.
Yeah. I had a whole Zoom class during the pandemic because with several of our friends, because everybody was like, so how do we braid and cornrow? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, isn't that like ancestral? I swore everyone knew how to braid and cornrow their hair. Like, I've known how to do my own hair since I was 10. My mother, that was project number one, because she had decided, I don't have time to braid your hair and your sister's hair and your father's hair. And your father's hair. So I'm going to need you to manage that. And that's what I used to do since I was 10. So growing up, when you think like, wait a minute, so you don't know how to do like just a simple Dutch braid or a cornrow? They're like, yeah, no.
So that's such a great point, you ladies, because it's true. Like, we're losing some of our ancestral sort of heritage and the skills that are passed down. That you're right. I do know people who don't know how to braid anything, right? And so they're watching all these. That's why all these YouTube influencers become popular. Because they're starting to sort of train people and teach people things that we should have learned in our families. Because a lot of people, we live privileged lives in general. Like, even the poorest of the poor still go to the beauty salon. Like, the beauty salon is a priority, and so you're so accustomed to someone else doing your hair that you don't learn how to do some of these very basic things. That's such a great point. That's a really, really good point.
And the other thing is also fashion. We are very fashionable people. And I tell you this, we're giving ourselves permission to live the way we want to. And people are like, okay, if I don't want to do this natural thing, I could change up my look and be something different. And I truly think that plays into a part too. Like, why not? Like, because now short hair is fashionable. I don't think that back in the day, unless you was Toni Braxton, not a lot of women rocked short hair, but now it's like, okay, if something messes up, which plenty of times has, I can just cut all of my hair, do something different, and come outside. And I think that that's what it is too. Pandemic, it was a time of experimentation. People like, so Revlon is on
that's
sale.
an interesting argument, though. That's an interesting argument, Martha, because you could be touching on something here, like perhaps this is just a continued evolution of this liberation that we have with our hair, that we can go back and forth if we want to. So perhaps it's not a negative thing. Perhaps it's just an evidence that of the freedom that we now realize the versatility of our hair and our ability to go back and forth. You know, bless all the women who could straighten their hair. I can tell you, I had baby perm, and baby perm alone broke my hair out. So I do not have those thick strands. Oh my gosh, I long for some thick strands. Thick strands. Like I look at the 4C hairs and I'm just like hair envy every day. Like how y'all have such density. Like look at the hair density. But you're right. And I think also part of the issue is that we just, as much as the market has expanded and there are all these product lines, like we can go through the list, and I'm happy that we have so much ownership now in the market share, that we have products like Mayel, Kinky Curly, name out some of the others. I'm blanking, like outside of like, which yes, outside of like the traditional cream of nature that we don't really own, or you know, that now have expanded into it. But I love the fact that we have our own product, and we're getting because to our comments earlier about having just a number of products in our bathrooms or wherever, that just shows how much buying power we have. And we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry, and a lot of that purchasing power is our Black women.
All the time.
Like period, is Black women supporting this multi-billion-dollar industry. So we need even more brands in that industry. Okay. So I think part of the issue, though, that even though we have sort of this expansion of the natural hair product brands, we still don't have a diversity of options for the kinkier hair. You know, and a lot of people are still mixing things in their kitchen. Carol's daughter is out there too. I knew I was dating somebody major. And people are still mixing stuff in their kitchen, trying to come up with a combination. That's why some of these influencers, you'll see them saying, oh, I mix apple cider with this and that, and this is what I do. So people are still having to kind of do their own grassroots process in coming up with something that works for their hair type and their hair texture. So we still have far to go. And I think possibly just the discouragement of not being able to look like some of the influencers who have these flowing hair. And thank you guys for the shrink videos, because people don't understand the shrinkage issue. That people just kind of feel like, wow, I tried it, I don't look like her. Like I don't have the hair density like her. I can't flow my hair like that. It may grow long, but it ain't thick like that, you know.
Well, the other, but it's also, I think that all of it is marketing, because even the ones with the thick hair, because you know, I'm team fine hair, thin hair. We have no density. Is also the realization, you know, outside of the work, that sometimes even the natural hair is fake.
But this is a lot.
It's fake. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna mention it. You know, because when I discovered that, I was like,
"Listen,
what? Your hair is really not that thick."
Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I literally forgot about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes.
My mind was like, oh, so we can even fake that too? Like, literally. Like, so it's like you sit there and go, well, okay, so we could do it all then.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever.
Yes. And I am here for the kinky ponytail. She is my friend. Okay. I'm here for the fake locks, because sometimes I feel like locking. Okay. I'm here for it all. I have purchased it all.
Even the instant locks, like everything now has a market for everything. We can, if you want it, we can do it. Because, you know, I'm sitting here like, oh, you know, I have my locks for 26 years. And then I wake up and my friend I was like, wait, you didn't have that yesterday. Like,
I grew this thing out of my head. I worked it until it was all the way down to here. And yeah, I started locks 2 weeks ago. Oh, but wait, yeah, I took my cousin. My cousin had some of her losses she cut off, so I attached it onto mine. And so yeah, yep.
I must say though, I will give our hairstylists some credit because
yeah,
these people are inventive.
Magicians.
Listen,
Inventors.
They are like chemists, physicists, like all of that wrapped them in one. Because I'm just amazed at the wrapping of the human hair to create the locks, like that wrapping method that they do blows my mind. Like I'm looking at folks like, wow, your locks is amazing. They're like, oh, I'm gonna take it out next week.
We're all types of engineers. And like you just sit there and go, we're that brilliant. Like imagine that. Yeah. We have figured it out that look, this week I may, put the creamy crack on. I'll just let this go, grow this out, before my retouch, and then I'll have locks next month. Like that to me, even in its versatility, is so beautiful. Regardless,
it is.
We can do that.
We can do that.
We've truly learned to make hair an accessory, which is amazing. It really is amazing. But then, Dr. Triss's point earlier, I do want to touch on the fact that, there aren't that much. Okay, yeah, you can have traction alopecia. Thank you for bringing that up, Martha. So there are risks to different types of hairstyles, but you can, for the most part, if you really take care of your hair and use your natural hair, you can minimize some of those risks. But there are risks associated with the creamy crack. Like we know that the 25-year long study done on Black women with relaxers showed that there was a link with breast cancer. We know that not only are relaxers linked to carcinogens, which are cancer causing chemicals, but they are also linked to endocrine disruptors. So they are changing the way our endocrine system works. And so hence why people have hormonal issues, right? And so there are legitimate concerns about the health risks related to using relaxers. And should we have a different perspective on that as an option because of the health risk?
But then the voice gets minimized, right? Because when we were, or as I will say, when the movement was starting, that was the messaging. The messaging was about, we're doing this in order to take better care of ourselves. The messaging now for natural hair is, this is how cute you can look. The messaging is different. Now the urgency, right, in terms of how important is it for your physical and for your body and for yourself not to indulge in chemical activity that's going to hurt you? Because I know for myself, not only, stopping the relaxers, changing my deodorants, changing like products that I'm using and attaching to my skin, changing how other things that, the more I know, the better choices I can make.
Right.
That no longer is the loudest voice in the marketing. So it's important to have these conversations to keep reminding people like, okay, I love how you're changing it up. However, sis, these are these health risks that, let's not mute that. We have to amplify that. Now, make it important. If the trend is to go back to the creamy crack, it's because no one is amplifying the messages as to the reason why we were doing the movement in the first place. There were a lot of health risks that was happening in our community that, I feel has trended down because the more awareness that we had, in this movement, there were a lot of changes as a community that we were doing. Now we're reverting back to those behaviors, but the numbers are low, so it's not as important. So that's what, that's.
No, that's a great point, and I really do wonder why that voice is becoming minimized. I guess because, it works against the market probably. But you're right, this is very real. As I'm in the year that I lost one of my closest friends, my childhood friends, to breast cancer, breast cancer is an important topic for Black women. We tend to have more aggressive types of breast cancer. So by the time we diagnose, we're less responsive to chemotherapy. We're more likely to have aggressive progression of the disease. So this really is to your point, Martha, this is really something that we need to continue to say, that there is hard evidence. Oftentimes studies aren't done on Black women, right? So we oftentimes it's really hard to generalize information to us. But here's a 25-year-old study that was specifically done on Black women that demonstrated the link with breast cancer. We need to pay attention to that because we've been asking for studies that are done on us so we can understand our health conditions. And so if it doesn't make sense to do the studies if we're not going to listen to the results. Very true. They're not going to continue to do other studies on us, right? If it doesn't really impact the outcome and it doesn't change behavior and attitudes, then what's the point in putting funding in studies like that? So you're right. You're right. I think we need to continue to remind people that there are, like people are talking about, why do we always seem to have hormonal issues? Why are girls growing up, very big and progressing and sort of advancing in their sex development very quickly? Their breasts are developing quickly. Their hips are shaping quickly. Their butts are expanding quickly. We need to pay attention to studies that are showing us when there are links in our hygiene patterns or in our food intake. You're right. We need to pay attention to that. I'm glad you brought up the deodorants also. Like these are things like I think I've definitely, even as a clinician, I have just become more self-aware of what I allow to absorb into my body. Like even from my facial hygiene, my moisturizers, I'm reading labels like I never read labels before. Okay? Yeah. And if I don't understand what is in there, because I'm not a chemist, I don't have that kind of brain. If it has things in there that I don't know what it is and I can't easily look it up, then I'm not going to use it. Simple ingredients for me.
Yeah. And that's the self-awareness though. That's you making a choice, and that's what it is taking more ownership about the health of oneself. And even of your loved ones, because again, I'm still responsible for some adults in this house and some children and stuff. And until otherwise, I am still the decision maker here.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Okay?
And so,
on that topic though, Martha, if you don't mind me asking you this, because you both have kids, like what is, and you specifically have a daughter. So what are you teaching her about her beauty, her hair? Like what lessons are you trying to amplify for her?
Well, I'll tell you this has actually been like an incredible week, right? Because she has started to do her own hair, like detangling her hair and putting her hair in a certain way so that it is how she wants it the next day. So imagine that she's 10 years old, the whole time I've always taken ownership of that part of who she is, in terms of, okay, on a weekly basis, this is what we're doing and stuff. And for me personally, again, I started my locks when I was 16. I'm like, you have like the most wonderful texture for some locks. I've been trying to convince her this for the last 3 years because this child is like her father and very tender-headed. She, is always not an easy environment when it's time to do her hair because she is just not of the type. But I'm in this week, she has looked for herself and saying, okay, I can do this. I can take ownership of my own self, detangling my hair like you have taught me, plaiting it up and then wrapping it so that tomorrow I can puff it out. And like this whole week has been a success. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've done something right. Like, I want to thank me. Because it's a competition. Because for years, she has very thick hair, but I do compete with, Mom, why can't I straighten my hair? Mom, why can't I do this?
What are you
and
talking?
I'm like, and I literally is like, I want to set you up with the best situation when it's time for you to do your own hair. That's the only thing I can tell her. Outside of this is what I'm going to do because you're still my child. I still pay rent here. You want to give them an answer. And I said, I just want to set you up for a good situation when you're ready.
Have you asked her why she wants to straighten her hair? Like, what's her reasoning?
Length. So my child is very fascinated with length, with length of hair. And even purposely, I'm like, I don't have long hair. I don't keep long hair. And she knows that. She's like, there you go, cutting your hair again. Like,
Oh.
she understands that mom is never going to have long hair again. And I don't even think that she ever, I cut my hair when she was young. I used to have very long hair, but she has never had that experience. So I know that the fascination of long hair doesn't come from me. So it must be somewhere outside, influencing her decision. Like, I would love to have long, flowy hair. So she loves getting a silk press. Oh, you can't tell her nothing. But it's me going, I really love your hair when it's coily like this. I love your hair. Just those affirmations.
Yes,
Because
I love
it is
that.
important. It is important because I've seen what it is to be a kid here competing with everything. And, to see children in weaves, I've seen that. And I'm like, she's only 9. She's only 10. She's only 11.
And
And
sometimes
that
babies.
is heartbreaking. Yeah, and those are babies already being conditioned that
They're not good enough.
weave is the accept. Yes, the weave is the acceptance. And what is naturally in their hair is not. And so I push. It's one of those you have to push through. So every day is, wow, I love this hair. I love this hair. And also making sure that even the environment, because I do have people who are a little bit in their environment, putting us in generational trauma, like, oh, why you didn't do her hair? Ooh, ooh. What we're not gonna do.
This is what we're not gonna do.
The most negative connotations on my child's look, my child's hair. Never.
I love
not
that.
in my presence and not away from me.
Right.
I have checked adults and they have, why her hair?
And they say that. I know exactly what they say. Yeah.
I'll pull them to the side. Please don't
do
that.
You.
Please don't do that. I said that is the reason why you are the way you are.
I was about to say that. No, you're 100% right. Like those, a lot of times it's unintentional. Like they don't understand the impact of their words because they have sort of incorporated that words in their soul so much because that's what they heard growing up and what their experience have been, that they don't even understand what they're doing by repeating those words. So you're right. It's completely generational trauma, psychological trauma. Yeah, about our self-image and our self-worth. Yeah. Yeah.
And being hyper aware is like key. It's just key. And if people know who you are and how you want, what messages you want your children to receive, they'll get in with you. Like,
that's good.
That's the good thing about our tribe, right? Our community, our people. Like, all right, that's how Martha is with her children. That's how, these are the affirmations Martha wants her children to hear. And these are the affirmations I'm also going to give to all my little nieces and nephews, and even the ones who know me and don't know me. I will be in the street and be like, oh, honey, that hair. Love it. I will come, and even my daughter, she'll be like, do you know these people? Do you know these people? I'm like, no, but she's beautiful and she needs to know.
I love it.
I love it. That's what it is.
That's why I love that. I love the reel that was trending. That was like, I love your hair. Thank you. It's an afro with the little kids singing. I love that. I love that trend so much because it's so symbolic for us. And you're right, because I remember when I started going natural and my hair was curly and it was kind of doing that, curly style. I was told things like, oh, your hair looks so wild. It looks untamed, and we just so do not realize what those words mean or how we started to use those words. Because those words were meant to be destructive. It was meant to be to lower our self-esteem, meant to strip us of our body image and our beauty. And we so repeat them almost like it's nothing without having that self-awareness. So I love that you said that too. Trista, you have a boy, a son, and I know beauty issues are usually most placed on the women. A lot of the beauty pressures when it comes to hair is placed on the women, but men do have. I really do wonder, like, how are you nurturing him in his, because at some point he's going to grow up. How is his perspective on beauty, on the beauty of of just what's considered to be a handsome man versus a beautiful woman? Like, have you started to nurture that part of him, that understanding of our self appreciation and self awareness?
Um, I guess unfortunately my answer would probably be more on the no side. And I don't know, it's a hard one to answer. Because by the choice of dad really likes the very neat, very low. I've already asserted my rebelliousness, and as far as I'm concerned, he can have a kinky head all the way and I would have no problems with it. Dad is not about that life. Dad is about the clean cut, everything would be combed every time, and I'm it's not me. But in that, trying to balance out his ideas as to what, yes, the handsome is, and what looks good. So I've started recently even more trying to tell him that he is handsome even when his hair is grown out a little bit, because we say, oh, how handsome you look with your haircut, right? But it's almost like, so wasn't I not handsome before because I had more hair, whatever the case may be? So I'm trying to be more conscious and aware of even saying it there, oh, you are so handsome even when his hair is growing out. Also, for a major reason being his environment. So where I am in Florida, particularly, there are a lot of people of Latin descent, and of course, across the board in terms of how they look. But there are a lot of I don't know if you want to call it what would be stereotypically Latin in a lot of places. So the longer, straighter hair,
So the
or
more European Latin,
the more European look. And he's sensitive about his hair and having his head shaved because they tease him.
I had that.
They tease him. They call him bald-headed because his hair is cut low. There are other kids that are more darker skinned, more of African descent, and some of these boys have hair as long as you could want it to be, and they're braided and things like that. Others have a regular fade, but unfortunately, Mama is his barber, and she don't know how to do nothing else than just clean everything off. So he had started kind of fussing about getting his hair cut. And I realized that there was a need to start reminding him that, he is not his hair. And what they say doesn't matter, because there's some other things that would be said as well, but another topic for another day.
And it's interesting that you said that too, because for our audience, how old is he?
6.
And so we're talking about the sort of
kindergarten
concept. Yeah, we're talking about the concept of beauty already being impacting a child in kindergarten. 6 years old. That's really, really early. So it's really important, to Martha's point, that we really start to, at a very early age, to really do all this positive reinforcement. What is his thoughts about, because you have your hair in locks, and I think you've been locked the whole time he's been alive. Is that right?
No, actually,
what were you?
My locks are probably about 3 years old now. So the first couple of years of his life, my hair was Martha's height.
Does he remember?
I don't think he remembers it. I mean, he'll see pictures and he knows it's me and things like that. And he likes when I do different things with my hair. So Mommy, you're beautiful. Your hair is beautiful.
That's what I was going to ask you. How does he feel about your hair? Because it's not the commercialized American standard hair.
No, he loves his mama. He loves the way his mama looks. I don't know what he would think when I eventually cut it off. But I think he acknowledges the beauty that's not necessarily that stereotypical. That much I've seen from him. One of the reasons why I can kind of say that confidently is in his ask for a younger sibling, he has been specific in his request for them to look like him and not like his classmates.
I love it. You better speak it into existence.
Hello. He's like, hurry up.
You better speak it into existence. I love it. So, it's just really interesting how early we formulate these concepts. And to your point, I love I love how you guys are approaching it with the kids, because you see kids have all these issues on social media and all these challenges with their beauty and their concept of beauty and their self-image and things like that. So it really points to the need to really address these things very early. What do you ladies think, before we go and we wrap up, what do you think the trend is going to be? Do you think we're going to continue to trend towards creamy crack, or do you think this is going to be a small group of our sisters heading back and the majority are going to stay natural? What would you think?
I think I advocate that we'll probably a lot more will stay more natural than anything. I think that we're just sensing there's a level of freedom that we're in right now, right? And rebelliousness, like Trista says. I think that everybody's just being their most authentic self, or for themselves, right? Everybody's dealing with their own truths and making choices like, I want to do what's going to make me happy, and if the perceived ease, because again, it's a perception that relaxing my hair is going to make my life easier until the problems arise. Because it's the same thing, right? We all stop because a problem arose. So even if there was a trend that more people will go to relaxers, they're not getting safer. So, all good things that are not good for you will require a change. So I'm never afraid about whether or not it's going to be a trend that our kids will be like, oh my goodness, like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, my daughter's going to come home with a relaxer, for the need of it. Because I think that there will always be the walk back to natural hair just to be our most healthier self, in my opinion.
Yeah. I must say, they try to come out with the no lie, but the no lie relaxers was a lie.
Definitely so.
It wasn't straight enough hairs. It wasn't, listen. The no lie.
Very true. Yeah.
So I think you're right. I don't think relaxers are going to get healthier or safer. I don't even think the industry is willing to invest the money in even exploring that as an option. Like, that would be great as an option if they explore healthy ways, just like they did, the coloring of your hair. Now there are natural ways of coloring your hair. I wish the hair industry valued our health as much as they valued our dollars, to try to invent ways that we can straighten our hair if we decided to change it up and still not be concerned about the health risks. But the fact of the matter is, they haven't valued us as individuals. They value our pockets. And so they haven't really explored or done the research to find options to give us that look without all the health risks. What do you think?
And they won't, because they have the population that will still do, quote unquote, the creamy crack. But these are the same corporations who are now expanding into the natural hair market. So they're getting the monies any which way. So they don't care. They don't have to do it. There's no need for them to do it. So they're not going to do it. They're not going to put their monies into that. But I do agree that I think you will continue to have those who will stick to it forever and forever for whatever reason. And you're going to have those who may go try it, because, I didn't start off with a perm at the age of 3. No, I think I got my first perm when I was probably about 13 or 14. So before that, I did my hair just like Martha was doing. I did my hair. I knew how to do my hair from before. And so I went to the perm. I went back. I went to the perm again. And then I went back. So I have a feeling you're going to have a lot of that. And it's going to come from, that awareness of health, but then just realizing that you have so much more versatility, because there's a lot of other things you can do to straighten your hair that do not require that level of chemicals. And, if you want to know, just go ask any Dominican. They'll tell you.
Oh, I love my Dominican sisters, boy. They will hook you up. Okay.
And that will also break your hair.
I'm just saying
that part. Then there's that part. Okay.
They have a lot. There are lots of things. And some of them, yep, you can do it temporary. Let's say you decide you want to do it every once in a year, whatever. You want to look different. You want to do something. But I think as people realize that there's more variability and there's more things that you can do when you're here with it, when it's like this, I think the desire to have it straightened all the time would probably become less. But one of the things that I think needs a bit of a revolution is the teaching of people how to do that simple braid, that simple twist, a flat twist along the scalp, something to be able to tame your locks, your wild, just something, because so many people have no idea, right? You can wear it as beautiful and as bouncy as you want it to, or you can lay it down as much as you want to with a twist, with a plait. But I think there's a need for that to be more taught. For people to have the options. Like, people need the options with everything, education and options.
And you know, it is tradition, and I feel like we're losing a lot of our tradition, and a lot of the things that are being sold now are just things that they're stealing from our heritage. A lot of our ancient cultures would use all these mixtures and put it together, use all these oils and these natural you know, natural ingredients from our environment and put them into their hair. And you know, even now, like, that's how the rice water rinse became so popular, from this ancient Asian culture with extremely long hair. And so everyone's trying to replicate that, but we don't understand how you can't just replicate a part of the process. You got to replicate the whole person's lifestyle if you're trying to get that outcome. Okay. It's the science of it. It's the science of it, people.
So, and I think the transparency and the reality that not everyone's hair grows long.
And not everyone's hair is going to look like that influencer.
Listen.
Not everyone's hair is going to look like the influencer.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Because
I want my hair long.
Listen,
reality.
As much as we want to say, yes, we've gone into a natural world, but I'm still going to say that still there is the epitome of what everyone looks for. That, what is it? 2C, 1A? I don't even know what the
3C. Yeah, exactly. 3C. That whole curly,
it's the 3.
Whatever.
People are fantasizing about the 3A, B, and C.
Okay, whatever it is, that they're still looking, that's still it. Like, we're not, you're starting to see a little bit more of it in advertising and marketing and stuff like that, but we have not put straight kinky fourth, what is it, fourth, girl, I don't know.
4C is the most quote unquote
coily.
Right.
We have not seen that just put in the forefront to be like, no, this is what we all want to look like.
Right, that's true. That's true.
It is.
Right, you absolutely right, but you're so right about that we still do fantasize. Even in the natural realm, we have fantasies about what we want and we expect our hair to be like, and the fact of the matter is our genetics are different. You know, a whole lot of us but experience shrinkage, right? So your hair is like, looks like it's up to here. Like, my hair looks like it has not changed for years. But if you pull the strands, you'll be able to see that I have some growth. But on the natural, when I put my hair curly, it looks like it has not grown for years. Okay?
We defy gravity every day. Listen, the black hair is not here. Look, the equation does not work for us black hair.
Amen.
Gravity is not our friend, and we don't care about you. Different rules for different people.
Not one bit. But you're so right about that. I mean, it's such a journey. But I'm glad that we're having a better attitude about our hair and really appreciating our hair. I mean, I wish I knew more things to do with my hair. I mean, this was just so I can not look crazy going to work. You figure out something, you make it do, you put a wrap. I'm learning how to wrap my hair. Thank you for my African sisters who have taught me how to wrap my hair, and now they have invented the auto wrap, so you ain't even got to know how to wrap, you just put it on. I love
just
y'all.
Put it on.
Black women, I love y'all. Okay. I can put on anything anytime. If I want to put on my kinky hair in the morning, I put on my kinky hair. If I want to put on my wrap, I can put on my wrap. If I just want to take a ponytail and wrap it up, I can do that. So I love our diversity. I really, really do. we just get taken advantage so much by this capitalistic society. But I say, you know, do what's you, whatever you want to do, how, as long as you know and understand the risks and the benefits, you know, it's a clinician in me, the risk and the benefits, and you have made an informed decision, then do you, baby, do you. Okay. All right. Thank you, ladies. Any last words before we head out?
Yeah, something just came to mind. I'm so sorry, girl. Has there been any discussion about how any of those chemicals can cross the placenta, how they can affect the baby? I'm just going to drop that there as a topic for next time.
Yeah, right, I mean, we do talk about chemicals in general and the absorption through the scalp as a theory, but have people really done actual studies? No, because in general, it's hard to find studies on pregnant women because pregnant women aren't going to volunteer. But we do share sort of the theories that's, you know, that's scientifically based in extrapolating from non-pregnant studies and say, hey, if this non-pregnant studies show that, then you're probably going to have some absorption during pregnancy, and that absorption is a potential risk for the baby. So I talk about hair dyes is probably the most common question I have. I treat primarily the Latinx population, so hair dyes tend to be the question that comes up all the time. But it's the same concept. It really is. So yeah, no, that's a valid point. That's a really, really good point.
I do, but I do think because I remember even during both my even though I stopped dying prior, now is a whole different story. But I remember at a point in time, you know, I used to be the nails, the hair person. So, you know, my appointments were on a regular. Whenever I was in the pregnant state, like the responsibility of whoever my technician was would be like, okay, how many months are you? No, we're not doing this anymore. And I remember like being shocked. Like my first pregnancy, I was like, what you mean we're not going to put these 10-inch nails on? Just because I show, you know, and that's what it is. That's the community, right? That's the
That's impressive, though.
Even it shocked me. I was just like, so you don't want to take my money?
Yes,
like, you know,
that's what we're accustomed to. People just want to take our money.
But being a responsible technician, being a responsible hairdresser to go, we're not going to dye your hair, and that's community, because a blowout in these, they will tell you, they'll be like, you know, I'll go with my daughter and they'll be like, she's too young, we can do this type of treatment or whatever, because this and that, you know, she's just not old enough. And that consciousness of a responsible, whoever it is doing your hair, whoever is doing it, you know, being a little bit like conscious about what the dangers are and what effect it may have on your children, like. So there is even if it's myth to them and not concrete with study, I think generally and generationally, there's always been an understanding of, at some point in time, we don't want to introduce chemicals that may impact, you know, and you will find that in certain communities. And that has been my experience. I will get shut down. I got shut down.
I'm actually happy to hear that. I didn't know that was such a thing. So I'm happy to hear that we do have some salon workers and hairstylists and technicians who are actually care about people. You know, nowadays you don't. It's really says a lot when we're shocked that when somebody cares about us. Yeah, that says a lot in of itself. But I'm so happy to hear that. And I wish more would be like that, who would actually forego the potential financial gain to really just, you know, be kind to someone and care about someone. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We're gonna end on that note because that's just beautiful. Yeah. That is beautiful. Oh my gosh, this is such a great. Now you see why I had to have these two on the couch for this conversation. There was nobody else. Nobody else that came to mind. Not one person. These two right here. Thank you, ladies, for sitting on the couch. Dr. Trista, you sort us out. Where can they find you if they wanted to find out more about your life?
On Instagram at tristajob.dpt.
Awesome. And the queen of positivity, positive affirmations of all kind. Come on, Martha. Where can they find you?
You can find me under Gotti Child on Instagram and also Facebook is GARICHILD.
Make sure you get that right, okay? And I am Dr. T, the hand behind the handle of Healthy Bump Club. We are so thankful that you join us from wherever you're joining us from. As a matter of fact, hit us up below and let us know where you're joining us from. If you like this conversation, I am certain you're gonna like a whole bunch of other conversations. As a matter of fact, why don't you hit up the one that Martha was on before? I'm telling y'all, you do not want to miss that episode either. All right. So if you like this conversation, go ahead and like us. If you have not joined the community, what you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere around here. And make sure you'll see a link that pops up to hit up the next video. It is catered to you. And if you have a comment, drop it below. What has your hair experience? What has your hair journey been like? We want to know. And if you are on Instagram, make sure you stop by healthybump.club and hang out with us in our stories, listen to our posts, because we be dropping some information. We be dropping the clinical stuff for y'all. Do not miss that, okay? And we are happy that you have joined us, and we are excited to see you in the next episode.